Top of the evening to you. Horror Vision 2020 coming at ya right now. How you guys doing? James Lewis. Yeah, that's right. What's going on? Tommy and I have another guest for you today. And we're excited about it. He's also a fellow Michigander. We're definitely pulling some strings over there. He lives in the Detroit area. He's been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. We talked to him a couple weeks ago. And he is an artist, a photographer, an actor. I highly recommend that you go and check out some of his photography on his Instagram or his website. I'll put the links in the intro. And we're excited to talk to him today because he has some cool stories about Hostel 3 and some of the other movies he's worked on. One of the special ones that I watched was the Russian Sleep Experiment. It's a short film, but it's brilliantly done. He's great in it. It's a lot of fun, and the concept and everything about it is so cool. So tune in for that part of the interview. We look forward to bringing you him today. Here he is, Michael Bugard. Let's do it. Who wears red and green? Only a crazy fake Irishman would. So here we go. Bam!
So we're just gonna start. It kind of gives it a cool, crank vibe. Remember that movie Crank?
I like it. Oh yeah. Or what's the other one? They did the something.
Yeah.
Drop Dead Harry.
So go ahead. You can.
Are you getting any
there,
kind of audio feedback or anything? Because I have to have my phone all the way up because I'm so deaf.
No, it sounds fine.
No, it sounds great. Yep. All right, guys. Horror Vision 2020. Welcome to the show. Nice to meet you. I know you live in. You still live in Michigan?
Yeah, I'm in Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm right around the corner from Henry Ford Hospital, which has been making a lot of sad headlines the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we hear. That's all we hear are sirens and helicopters.
Yeah, if I step outside, it'll. Yeah, actually, lately it sounded like LA to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah, Detroit's getting hit hard, man.
Yeah, it is. But thank you, Michael Bugard, correct? Did I say it correctly?
Well, I think it's Bugard, but somewhere along the line there was an Anglo in the woodpile that changed it to Bugard.
God. Yep. When they all came over to America.
So why don't you give us a little bit about your background, like your background in photography, theater, all of the different things you do?
I'm sorry, my background in what?
In your photography, theater, movies, just how you got started, just a little snippet of you.
How I got started, none of it was deliberate or intentional. It was all just like bizarre quirks of fate. The only reason why I got into acting is because I'm a fan of film, and a former employer of mine who owned a bar in Ypsilanti, Michigan, knew it and gave me a call one day and told me that a low-budget zombie film was going to be doing casting in his bar on a Sunday that they were closed. So I showed up, and I actually got the part that I auditioned for. I played a drunken redneck, and which wasn't much of a stretch from me just being a stoner former redneck.
You're a recovering redneck. So am I. My last name used to be Hatfield, so yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
But yeah, so I got that, and then a couple of years after that, the same production company wanted to do a vampire movie, and they wrote the role of the vampire specifically for me, and that's how I got to know you. And
that's cool.
Because of that, I got featured in Hostel 3, and things have slowly kind of spiraled up since then.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, and Michael does the photography for us at Motor City Nightmares. But the difference between you and the other photographers that I've had is you have a way of catching these people like off when they're off doing something else in their mind, and it's like a different essence. The photography is beautiful. So I'll show you some of
actually, I'll let you in on a secret on that. That's more me just being a smart-ass prankster. I like
but
to
it's
get
beautiful.
I like to get, as you said, people when they're not quite on.
Yeah.
And they've got a weird look on their face, or maybe you're thinking hard about something.
Yeah.
It all kind of goes back to being a fan as a kid of the famous picture of Albert Einstein sticking his tongue out. So that's why I have 2 photos of Bernie sticking his tongue out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what about, so the vampire movie, what was that one?
It was, you know, I'm not sure what to tell you because depending on what country you're in, it'll have a different name.
Oh, okay.
Was
it the one with Sigourney Weaver? Or was, because there's
no. Oh God, no. This movie never went anywhere. It's a piece
okay, because I know there was one shot there.
It's a movie I never want you to see. Okay. It's Extinction in, I think, Thailand and Germany, or Vampire Land anywhere else. And the Vampire Land title I thought was just an awful choice because it made some fans of Zombieland think that there was some sort of connection.
Oh, they did it on purpose.
And yeah, and that's like, you know, like watching the porn spoof and thinking that it's the original or something.
Pirates.
So tell us, wait, you did something in Chicago was it a couple of years ago or last year?
Last year, but I spent most of the month of October in Chicago shooting in indie feature, first-time director Dominic Migliori. It's called Routines, and I kind of play myself. I play a washed-up stand-up comedian who...
No, they're all out here.
Yeah, and I'm friends with some of them on Facebook.
Okay.
And in fact, one of them I met on the set of Hostel 3 of all places.
Of course.
I got to watch him have his face peeled off. But he's just
Most people can't say that they've seen that before, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who it was. His name's Skylar Stone. He was the guy who did the dandruff treatment in Waiting. Is that the right name?
Oh,
the movie about the waiters.
Yeah, with Dane Cook
in bars all across the country for like 2 years, everyone started getting goated.
Yeah,
yep.
Stop watching.
Well, the only reason why I would say that character isn't quite me is that I'm not a has-been. I'm still a never was. George Carlin always managed to rock the just woke up in an alley look.
Yeah, but George Carlin, man, he can do anything. He can do no wrong in my eyes. So.
Well, in my opinion, too. I got to see him live back in '95, and that was pretty special.
That's pretty awesome.
That's cool. So what other projects have you been working on?
Well, recently, project Don't Go Insane during the lockdown.
That's what everyone's working on.
And I won't say that I've been successful at that yet either. But as far as stuff that I've done in the last year or so, well, there's Routines, as we just mentioned. And, speaking of Routines, one of the fun things about that is that I got to work alongside YouTube's The Cinema Snob. And Brad, if you haven't been to his channel yet, you should, because he watches cheesy movies the way that people like us like to watch cheesy.
Then I'll probably like that.
He calls himself The Cinema Snob. He adopts his air of, well, today we're going to watch, like Bill Kennedy, like Detroit's old Bill Kennedy.
Oh, Bill Kennedy. I remember Bill Kennedy.
But the thing is, the movies that he shows are just like the worst schlock. It's just wonderful. And his reviews are hilarious. I mean, I would say, if you really want to check his stuff out, start with his review of Tango and Cash.
Okay.
I know you know or knew Robert Zadar, so so check that out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's funny. Oh man! So a few years ago, I got a submission for Motor City Nightmares Film Festival of the Russian Sleep Experiment, the short that you did, and that was the first time I actually saw you. Just your acting chops. That was a really good role. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, it's based on the famous urban legend turned into creepypasta story, and you know, the same source that Slutterman came from and things like that. And it was, I don't know what to say. We shot it in 2 days. It was a grueling shoot. In the span of 48 hours, we shot something like 26 hours.
Wow. Was it a 48-hour film challenge?
No, it was, actually, it was made to be a proof of concept video. Oh, okay. That's all it was ever meant to be. It was well, a sizzle reel to raise money to make a feature. And that never panned out, but the POC ended up becoming a viral video on YouTube. We've gotten over 10 million views. It stars my buddy Gary Bruner, who's awesome. Yeah. And Tim Smith, the guy who directed it, he was 19 or he turned 20 when we were shooting it. I mean, he was just a kid. And because he's just a kid, I went all boomer on him, and at first wanted to just
that's us, right?
dismiss the role. And well, you know, if it's not a paid role, I'm not gonna do it. And then he came back. It's like, hey, I got funding. You want to do it? I turned him down again because I didn't know German accents. I'm like, you need to get somebody who can do a German accent in order to do this right. And then he just kept busting my balls until finally I caved in and said, okay, I'll watch some YouTube videos and see if I can get an accent. And so that was the story behind that. And
do another wolf.
I wish we could do it again because I've greatly improved my German accent since I played another Nazi scientist in a feature that's coming out later this year. Might get theatrical release. It stars James Maslow, the singer James Maslow, and I play. I almost gave you a spoiler. I play
is it a werewolf movie or something?
No, it's a Nazi movie.
Nazi movie. What's it called?
Wolfhound.
That's why I thought it was a werewolf, because it's called Wolfhound. Got it.
No, it's about American pilots being shot down in France behind enemy lines.
Oh, that's
okay.
And the things that they go through to escape us Nazis.
Did they shoot that in Detroit, or did you go?
No, we shot it in Michigan. I mean, some people will say Detroit, but the thing is, in Michigan, for some reason, anything that's within an hour's drive of Detroit gets called Detroit, and it's not fucking Detroit.
So
it is a suburb.
So you shot it in Novi then?
No, actually, we did shoot it in a real town, Ypsilanti, Michigan, and that was where most of the bombers that the Americans flew in World War II was made.
Because of Willow Run.
And we actually shot in the Rosie the Riveter hangar.
Oh, I know that hangar. Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandma had a plane there.
That's really cool. And we had real World War II aircraft. You'll see quite a bit in the film. The person who choreographed all the aerial stunts was the same person who did aerial stunts did the choreography for Dunkirk.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
That's cool.
And, so, I mean, this is a low budget movie, but it's still, you know, in the millions of dollars budget. But
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough.
So that was a lot of fun hanging around on bombers all day long.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Do they still have that B-24 bomber there?
Yeah. Actually, it's in the movie.
That's I was a pilot of that in a World War II film years and years ago.
What film?
It was called Forever in Time, filmed by Chuck Grady. It was like a 20-minute movie, but like the budget was insane. I got to go flying in that thing twice. It was an absolutely like mind-blowing experience. Those things are
awesome.
Those things are elegant and just such beautiful aircrafts. Loud, but you're like you get in those things and you're just like, this is a solid plane. I have no fear of it crashing. Like they're built to take bullets and everything else. I mean,
it's not like taking
you're absolutely right. I was impressed by that too. I mean, you read the stories about how all but one engine gets blown off and it still stays in the air, or practically no tail fin left or whatever, and they're still able to fly. And then once you get into it, you're like, holy shit. So this is what Detroit and Pittsburgh used to be capable of.
I know, right? Yeah, before they had to start making breakable parts. So can you tell us, do you have any cool stories of people from our show that you like interacted with? Because you took some really cool photos of like Bai Ling and everybody, you know. Have any cool, fun things to tell?
Oh, my Bai Ling photos. Well, that was fun because I just wanted to get a picture of her.
Right.
And when I went up, she does enough modeling and such that she saw the camera and she's like, oh, and
you
gave me
crazy.
A cue.
Yeah.
The convention floor. I don't know, just one story of the people.
It doesn't matter. Maybe a Sid Haig story. You have a Sid Haig
there's
story?
a lot of stories that I will never share publicly.
Those are the ones I want to hear.
So you're just gonna have to guess who I'm smoking weed with out behind the conference.
Probably my brother.
But I was really surprised by enjoying myself hanging out with Dee Snider.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because I know Dee's politics are a bit farther to the right of my own, but
yeah.
he's such a champion of the first.
Oh wait, wait.
Sorry about that.
There we go. Okay, he was such a champion of the
my
first
phone's on, and I just got a call that said scam likely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, so go ahead. You said he was a champion of the
First Amendment.
Okay. I remember
he had that famous moment on the floor of Congress 30 years ago, along with Frank Zappa and others, and he ended up talking a lot about that, and very, very charismatic self-confidence in that man as well.
Yeah.
That I found very enjoyable. So William Forsythe,
who doesn't love him?
Every year. I mean, it's like a decade-long tradition now that on Saturday night at the convention, he and I have dinner and a martini.
Don't talk politics because he likes the other guy in the office. So.
Right.
We don't talk politics.
We learned that.
Yeah, he's one of the only people that I can talk that I can be okay with.
But the thing is, I mean, he worked with Sergio Leone.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that's cool.
And that's how he and I hit it off, because when I first met him, it wasn't, what was it like to work with Rob Zombie? It was, what was it like to work with Sergio Leone?
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
But of course, I do want to know what it's like to work with Rob Zombie, preferably by working for Rob Zombie.
Yes, that would be the greatest.
If peeps are watching, I was going to say you can find me on IMDb, but actually you can't. I canceled my membership last week because
call me. I'll get a hold of them for you. I'll be your agent.
Well, I told Richard Brake back in February that I want to work with him. It's like, you got to tell Rob.
Well, we just did an interview with Dee, and she did a whole story about Rob and Sherry.
I enjoy her stories about Rob. Everybody's stories about working for him. He sounds like an actor's director.
Yeah.
I mean, they all say that that he allows his talent to come to set and improv, try different things. If it works, they keep it in. If it doesn't, they throw it out. But it's not. I really do not like having to be militantly anal about sticking to the script.
Yep.
You actors. Just read the lines.
It's tough.
It's just because sometimes it looks good on paper, but once you hear it come out of the mouth, it's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's Russo. I can do it with a look, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool. No, so yeah, we'll let everyone know that you're up for working for Rob Zombie. No problem.
I like the sound of that. Well, I like working for money.
You did work recently with Josh Becker.
I'll do most anything, except I won't be in a movie that makes the atheist professor the God-hating villain. Those movies.
And that's right. Atheist has to be the good guy.
Full of them. And Dean Cain is in every one.
So you recently you worked with Josh Becker a few years ago, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that like? I mean, well, just tell us what you did.
What I did? Oh,
yeah, you did photography.
Actually, I wore a couple of hats. I was going to say his last feature, but no, I forgot. He did a Western after that.
Oh, yeah, because my son was in it. My son.
So that was, because you told me that you and your son worked with Ted Raimi, and I remember saying,
that was it.
Oh, God, I hope it wasn't that. And so it ended up being that.
Yeah, they couldn't find American Indians, so they have Filipinos. They called all the Filipinos out.
Oh, I saw the photographs of his natives.
Yep, my son.
I mean, it wasn't quite as bad as like putting brown face on Charlton Heston.
Right. It could have been way worse. At least they were all really brown.
It did stress the suspension of disbelief, nonetheless.
Yeah, a little bit, yes. So, sorry, I don't know if I wasn't supposed to ask about that. My mind got.
Oh no, that's fine. I mean, I had a lot of good experiences with Josh. I mean, we've had a falling out, and I'll just say it because of his drinking. At this point, I think he'd be willing.
I think he's had a lot of.
From what I'm hearing through the grapevine lately, it sounds like he's learning some stuff.
Good. Good. He's a good director.
But I mean, he mentored me for close to 10 years. I mean, I met him at. I was going to say the very first Motor City Nightmares, but that would be inaccurate. I met him a couple of months before the very first Motor City Nightmares at Motor City Comic Con.
Okay. Don't speak the word.
Because he that was back when he and Gary Jones were often sharing booths.
Yeah. So yeah, Josh Becker comes through the Sam Raimi camp with Gary Jones. That's how he knows Gary Jones.
Josh has known the Raimis and Bruce. Actually, that's how I met Bruce, was through Josh. But yeah, I mean, they grew up together. Gary came on board for Army of Darkness, I believe.
That's cool.
He came in with Kurtzman and all of them.
Yeah,
Josh also directed several episodes of Xena, and so that's how I was able to spend time with Lucy Lawless. Josh flew me to Times Square to hang out with Rob Tappert and Lucy and interview them.
For those of you who don't know who Rob Tappert is, let me tell people who Rob Tappert is, because people only know Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi is who he is because of Rob Tappert, his producer. So they are almost like one, just so people know, because he never gets the love.
Right, yeah. I mean,
and he's married to Lucy Lawless.
Yeah. And they met on the set of Xena.
Yep. So just wanted to clarify. Okay, go ahead.
Anything that Raimi makes, Tappert's money is behind it.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. That's why I know they're like one.
2025 or Spider-Man or Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yep. Everything. Yeah. And that's cool, because I admire a lot of the producers that I follow, not as much as people don't know all the names of the people that I love, So and Rob Tappert is definitely one of them, because he is a great businessman. He knows.
Yeah, he's a nice guy too. He actually hit me up for, I won't say what it was about, but he hit me up for some connecting him with some people in Detroit about a year ago.
Oh, so it wasn't legal.
No. It was nothing shady. It's just that.
No, marijuana's legal.
It was for a business idea that they have that I don't know if it's been realized or if it's going to be realized or abandoned or anything like that. So I don't want to say anything beyond that.
So what do you have that got canceled because of this? Because of the COVID?
Oh, let's see. There's that one horror convention.
Ugh. Ugh. You hurt me. You cut me deep.
Well, it cuts both ways. We're both getting hurt by that.
I know. Well, it's still happening. Everything is still on.
Just this month, yeah, Motor City Nightmares, obviously, that's a weekend that I look forward to every year, and it's gone. The weekend before that, actually, Nightmares was supposed to happen this coming weekend?
Yeah, the 24th. Yeah. Actually, a couple weeks,
24th, next weekend. This coming weekend.
Okay, so it's this coming weekend that I'm missing out on spending another weekend with a building full of porn stars.
Oh, where do you do that?
It's going to be my third time attending Exotica in Chicago.
Oh, that's cool.
We're
right by Vegas where they have all the big award shows.
Right, and Exotica does Vegas too.
Yeah, that's cool.
I would like to do all those, but I've been to Chicago twice because they invited me because of some photos I did with porn star Mallory Maneater and a Donald Trump butt plug.
You gotta check out some of his photos. I love them, especially the ones with the nuts.
I was checking some out before we got on, but
yeah.
But I mean, the photographs are not pornographic. So.
Right.
Well, who's to say? Trump would say it's pornographic.
Yeah, well, he would say it makes his hands look small, but
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you, but I got all my prints and storage.
It's okay. We can look it up. But I would love to swing around and interview again when we, let up. And of course, if we could, I'll put some of your photographs up and everything because I think people need to see what I mean. Because me just saying it, they're like, oh, it's good. No, unless you see them, that's because you can evoke some emotion in those. It's funny how you catch them. It's not really like they're off guard. There's just like moments that you have. So.
Well, sometimes they're like a little off guard, but it's some of them is totally posed too.
Yeah, but they look.
I mean, I'll just make a silly request, and they'll indulge it, and click.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, Michael. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have some questions?
I just want him to throw out his photography website if you have one.
No, I don't have a website. Because I'm cheap like that.
Gotcha.
But you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. And I got to admit that I've been kind of lax in the last 2-3 months about keeping my social media updated. I mean, I pretty much just have anti-Trump rants on my Twitter for the last 8 weeks.
Well, it's hard not to. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and Instagram, I've been neglecting that too. I mean, I got plenty of photographs I haven't shared yet that I should put up, but
well, maybe this will give you a reason. People will check it out.
Yeah. So at all of them, it's I think you can find me at if you put in at MBUGARD, my first initial and my last name.
Okay.
Okay.
Facebook, the page might actually be Michael Bugard or Aberrant Perspective Michael Bugard.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's the one that I just could care the least about. But yeah, look for me on Twitter if you want to see more scandalous content. If you want to see more family-friendly stuff, then go to Instagram.
Oh, go to the scandalous. That's the fun one.
Oh, in that case, you can also find me on Pornhub and FetLife.
All right.
And I use my real name.
All right.
All right. Well, I look forward to actually meeting you at the end of July, as long as Motor City Nightmares doesn't get pushed anymore.
Fingers crossed on that, because it's July is seeming a little bit more unrealistically optimistic as each day goes.
I know, but no matter what, I already have it booked for next April. I have it booked for next April, no matter what. So awesome. I'll be able to have Motor City Nightmares masks and hand sanitizer made, right?
Yep.
Yeah, hand sanitizer. Well, that's something I before we go that I would like to plug. There's a company by a local entrepreneur here in Detroit named Andy DiDeRossi, and he heads Detroit Bus Company, which is, I mean, it's not, our local public transportation. They have tour buses. They like buy old school buses and give them like a hippie paint job, and then give people tours around the city in them, or charter them for special events. At Halloween, they'll do haunted tours of the city with these buses. But Andy he's done a lot in the community to bring some things back. I mean, like with the bus company, I don't know if you remember, like 5-8 years ago, the Detroit Velodrome being rehabilitated, the old bicycle racing track.
Oh no!
Andy was behind that. So when they have the like go-kart and souped-up lawnmower races and stuff out there, that's because of him. And this is just a long intro to pitch people to go to Detroit Bus Company on Facebook or elsewhere on the internet and donate to them, because they are right now manufacturing hand sanitizer for grocery store employees, hospital employees, the Detroit police, and various other first responders in the city, because this city is literally getting killed right now.
Yeah, it's bad.
And if you guys can do that, that would be great. That would be greatly appreciated.
I'll do it right away. Detroit Bus Company.
Yep. I think you might find it like CO period instead of company. But yeah, Detroit Bus Company.
I'm sure I'll Google it and figure it out.
But yeah, you'll find it. You'll see pictures of Andy and his PPE and just like the entire shop has been removed of mechanical stuff to create all of these thousands of gallons of hand sanitizer to distribute around the city to help save lives. I've gone and volunteered a little bit with them on that, and it's pretty amazing how much they're able to make, and it's all, I would say, artisanal. It's all handmade.
Right.
People are gonna buy this years from now, like vintage.
Yeah, get your artisanal hand sanitizer. It's
thanks so much. It's great talking to you.
Thanks,
and seeing you.
Well, it's good seeing you again, even virtually.
Yeah, I know, right? This is how we got to do it for now.
Yeah.
Look forward to meeting you in the near future, bud.
Yeah, you too, and thank you guys.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
You guys, Horror Vision out.